The Hamilton Khaki is an absolute classic. It is loved by many and known by most. It is a watch that you can see on TV screens and movies and all throughout Instagram and YouTube. But what if I actually told you it's not the best watch, especially for the money? Hey guys, I'm Tyree and this is Unwound, and I'd like to talk about where watches and stories meet. In today's video, we're going to break down why the Hamilton Khaki is a classic, but there's a watch that's actually better than that. And the watch that I'm talking about is the Timex Expedition North, particularly the post-mechanical. This watch gives you all the specs, gives you the same great history for a third of the price. And I'm going to break it down step by step so you can see, is this truly a Hamilton killer or am I just capping? So first, let's break down the Hamilton Khaki and let's talk about some of the things that are similar. When looking at both watches, you're going to start off getting a sapphire crystal, which is going to be very important for a field watch, kind of minimizing those scratches. Now, when we look at case dimensions, both of these watches come in a perfect 38 millimeters. And what makes them both kind of popular and special is when watches are starting to get bigger and bigger, I think there's a drawback to some of these smaller cases that can really fit any wrist size. A 38 is going to be small enough to fit many different women's wrists or smaller wrist sizes, as well as not be so small that it can't fit someone with a large wrist presence. So 38 millimeters is really perfect for any watch, especially a field watch. Now, where they start to differ slightly is going to come to case thickness. The Hamilton Khaki comes in at a mere 9.5 millimeters. And the Timex, while on its website comes in at 12.3, I think it says, when I measured it with my own device, it actually came in at 10.9, which is much better and brings it a little bit closer to the Hamilton. So if you like a thinner watch, the Hamilton does take the slight edge, but only by a little bit. The largest distinction, though, between these two watches is going to come down to the movements. And then this is where I think for some people it might be a turnoff, but I think I have an argument of why it's not that big of a deal. So with the Hamilton, you're going to be getting a Swiss movement that comes with an 80-hour power reserve, which is amazing. And then with the Timex, there's not a lot of transparency of exactly what is that movement. And so looking at online, looking at some other reviews, think that we've determined that it is a Seagull ST1701, maybe? Timex, let me know. But we do know that it's probably a Chinese movement. So let's talk about the pros and cons of these two movement types. With the Swiss movement, obviously a bigger power reserve, but it also comes with a higher bill when it comes to servicing. Yet, it may take longer to need to be serviced. Now, with the Chinese movement, like I talked about, only half the power reserve, and when you take it and get to service, one of the things, it may be either super easy to get the parts because it's a Chinese movement, or it might actually be cheaper to replace the movement altogether. So with that, it depends on how you feel about the emotional connection to the movement. Is the movement the heart of the watch that you need to have the exact one? Or is it, hey, do I just care about my watch telling time? So after we talk about the movement, this is where the differences in the watches really start adding up and where the Timex starts taking the lead. The first major difference is going to be water resistance. With the Hamilton, you're only getting 50 meters of water resistance, which means, you can splash around, but you can't really swim with something like that. With the Timex, you're actually getting 100 meters of water resistance. Now, I don't know about you, but me and my profession, being in the military, I need a field watch that can actually experience being in the field. Whether I'm going across the lake, whether I'm going across a river, I need something that's going to be able to handle some water resistance, handle some rain. And the Hamilton Khaki is not actually built for that. And so that's where I think the Timex really starts taking the lead. Now, the watch is not going to be perfect for like deep diving and swimming, but as an Army Ranger, I typically leave the water stuff to the SEALs. And for us being on ground, this watch can handle anything that we throw at it and it's going to be perfect. So that gives the field edge to the Timex. And then going back, the other biggest difference between these two watches is going to be the price. And so now you're getting a watch that has the same crystal, same case size with a slight difference in thickness. It has a better water resistance, but it's a third of the price. With the Hamilton Khaki coming in at $615 and the Timex coming in at about $200. I'll drop some Amazon affiliate links down below. And you can even get a used one for as low as $130 as of the filming of this video. So you're going to tell me for $130, I'm going to get better water resistance, just all the same specs versus a $615 watch? I really think that the Timex is really winning out. Now, another thing that you may have noticed when you're looking at both of these watches is the aesthetic, because they both look very similar. Now, you may say, is Timex making an homage? No. Timex is actually referencing a military document. The MIL/W/4367/Bravo. I hope I got that right. I did that skit like 5 times. The MIL W 40 The Mil-W-43 is actually a reference that the military created to kind of give a standard of what they wanted their watches to look like. And that's why you'll notice that not only with Hamilton and Timex, but many companies actually have watches that look very similar to this, because this was the standard of what a military watch should look like. Which brings me to my next point of why do people love actually both of these watches? And I think it's the case size and the aesthetic really has a great mass appeal. This is the kind of watch that a watch lover can geek over and love and talk about the history and talk about the slight differences between the triangles and all these different things that tie to that Mil doctrine. But it's also a watch that is simple enough that even a casual watch wearer could love it. It's something that can match many different outfits, many different settings, and is an absolute strap monster no matter which watch you get. I know personally that I've worn my watch in so many different settings, from date nights to actually training in the field to I haven't jumped out of a plane with it yet. And there's a reason for that. If you don't know, I have another video about the watch that I always wear for my jumps, so check that out if you haven't. But let me know what you think. Is the Timex Expedition North mechanical truly the king over the Hamilton? Is this going to be the next Hamilton killer? Or am I just a Timex addict and I'm just geeking out? That's up to you. Let me know in the comments down below. And also, I just have to say thank you. You could have been anywhere in the world right now, and you chose to spend your time with me. And for that, I'm incredibly thankful. So I hope that you and your family are blessed in the days ahead. God bless, and peace.